So before I post the next two videos, I gotta give a little backstory. I spent most of the morning sore, but I got up, took my medication, and started cleaning, doing stuff around the house. Started cooking breakfast, started cleaning the floor, started taking care of the cat, giving him water, food. I mopped the bathroom, I mopped in front of the stove, even though I did the stove last night. I mopped in front of it and wiped it down. I started cleaning. I took a break and I was just about to put on the TV for my roommate. Usually, what I do is I don't put on something for myself because he'll just turn into a complete jerk until I do change it. So, my plan was to find something he would like. But as I'm finding stuff, I'm telling him I gotta go to welfare next Tuesday. I gotta clean this. I gotta clean this. You think you can vacuum on Monday and I'll vacuum on Tuesday? And he's just like, I don't know, I don't know. He's saying, I don't know to every question. And I don't get mad. I just say, okay. So I'm telling him, this is what I'm going to be doing, and this is what, and I wanted to explain to him too that we have an eviction notice, and welfare has not guaranteed to pay the back rent. And my Department of Health and Human Services worker wants to know if I can pay it, and I can't. I gotta well, I could. I'm gonna be making payments towards it, but it won't all be at once. It'll be $1,000 I owe by the 5th, and my income will have to be paid forward to the next week of work. I got to pay for taxis. Also, I got to get a new water filter for clean water so we don't get sick, and toilet paper. But other than that, the rest will roll over till it's rent. But I also have to put about 175 every week. No, 150. It's about 150, yeah. 150, 166, something about around there. And I have to put that away for the following rent. So after you take the 150, 166, something like that, every week, you take the transportation out, there's only like 20 or $30 left. And then we need toilet paper, and I'm not getting any food. I'm basically just starving myself. Not because I have to. I buy quite a bit of food, about $200 every 2 weeks. But while I'm at work, a bunch of it gets used up. I come home, it's gone. And David does spend money, but he only spends about 100 a month on food, and he's through it in a couple weeks. And then he's just eating my food for 3 weeks. So this is a problem. So I don't really have a lot of food left for myself. I'm having to overpay for milk because I'm getting special lactose-free milk to help with the gas pressure. Doing stuff like this. And I'm not talking to him about it. I'm just telling him instead of watching TV during the day while I'm at work, I'm going to play the news for you for a couple hours. Then I'm going to turn it off when I leave. And then when I come home, you can watch it. And the days I'm home, you can watch TV. I let you pick the channel. And keep in mind that the old TV and the old antenna I hooked up, every 10 minutes he was making me get out of the kitchen, get out of the bathroom to move the antenna. He would scream and have a hissy fit about this antenna. It was a big problem. So now I'm paying for all these cable channels. By the way, he's also like a child. He bills me. I've had to pay hundreds in TV bills, and I've had to install codes before. I took the codes off and just canceled the channels, and I closed out my bank account because of it. He was charging me way too much money. And he said, "Oh, I don't know how to use this thing." I don't. Well, David, then don't use it. If you don't know how to use my TV and you hate my TV, then stop using it. I've had to close out my account. I've had to put on a code. This is not what I'm telling him now. This is what I told him before. But today, I was telling him I'm going to play the news for you. I'm going to put on some movie or maybe the DVD player I'll hook up for you. I bought a DVD player for myself, but then I'm just basically have given it to him. I've never really used it for myself. It's mostly for movies for him. I said I'll even hook up the DVD player so while I'm at work you can throw in some DVDs that you buy. He doesn't like that idea because then he has to go out and spend his money. But either way, I'm giving him options. And I said, well, instead of doing that during the day, why don't you try to get some stuff done? Why don't you try to work on your credit card debt? Why don't you try to work on the house? Why don't you clean up your body? Why don't you clean up the feces? Do your sheets, do your laundry. I've had to clean up a poop stain last week. I've had to clean up the bathroom from your poop stains on the sink, on the floor, in the sink, in the shower, a whole trail leading to the toilet. I've had to scrub it out of the carpet. And Leo, my cat, doesn't even poop this much on the carpet. I'm not even kidding. Leo goes to the bathroom to take a poop on the floor if something's wrong. And he's only done that twice. My roommate, who's 83, poops on the floor more than my cat. And I clean up after. But I'm not telling him that either. I'm just saying clean up after yourself. I told him mopping the walls And if you're going to smoke or try to sneak it, because I catch him a lot of times, I can smell when I come home, make sure to clean up after yourself. Don't smoke outside. But don't let me catch a bunch of smoke damage after I do the wall, because if I clean the wall real good and then you smoke onto it, then it's going to leave streaks. Now I'm just explaining to him that this needs to happen. We have $1,000 in back rent. As I was hurt, all your stuff piled up because I wasn't doing it for you no more. I was just doing my own dishes. I was just doing my own cleaning. I was just doing my, if I dripped piss, I would wipe up only my own piss. I was only doing my bedding and my clothing. I was only cooking my food. And that's because I was in extreme pain and I was spending a lot of time in the emergency room. But because I stopped doing everything for him, the house became a destructive mess. And when the inspector, somebody came for inspect to see how our household was, it was terrible. It was terrible. And don't get me wrong, this guy is elderly and senile, but that gives him no right to take my resources, throw away my belongings, destroy my belongings, be dangerous with my body. He's actually tried to rape me after a seizure. He's very dangerous with fires. He doesn't care about disease at all. When it came to COVID, he was hanging out with homeless people and then coming home and literally just touching everything without washing his hands. And I had to explain to him, wear a mask. And even when his meds, I had to go pick up his meds, he didn't want to spend the money or do any of it. So I had to do everything when the buses and taxis stopped running. I had to order everything on Amazon out of my account. I had to do everything. And so I stopped when I got hurt and I had to leave work because of the GI and the seizures, and I was taking ambulances way too often, and I was seeing a lot of doctors, and I was hurting real bad. I was only taking care of my stuff. So his stuff got real bad. The whole house, his bedding, his clothing, his dishes, his floor messes, his food that I was finding all. After I got better, I went through the fridge and I found so much of like pasta sauce. Like he likes these Italian meals, fuzzy with white, green. It was disgusting. There was so much just disgustingness in that fridge. Drip marks going into the drawers, and I wiped it all out. And if you saw the fridge video, I wiped the fridge. I do this all the time. He destroys something, and then I come by and clean it up. I'm basically following him up, following him around. He destroys, I clean. So keep this in mind when watching this. But then he got really rude with me after I was just explaining to him the basics. It was only like a 30-second conversation. I was in the middle of picking a show for him. I told him I have to get up, I have to clean the bathroom, I'm going to take my arm, clean the back of the toilet, I'm going to clean up the sink, I'm going to clean the floor. I just got done vacuuming. The reason why we didn't have you vacuum like always is because the one time I did have you vacuum, you destroyed my shoes and almost destroyed the whole vacuum. It reminds me of what my mother used to say about me when I was about 5 or 7, that I tried to vacuum one time and I fell when the vacuum was in pieces. Well, this is worse than that. He literally purposely destroys the vacuum so he never has to vacuum again, and then I have to spend $260 on a new vacuum. I had the 6 in the wrong place. $260. And I have to try to beg him to kick in some money for the vacuum because this is a household good. And usually it's like $50, $40, something, or sometimes he doesn't kick in anything. I mean, all the cleaning products in the house were bought by me, except for maybe one small mini bottle of dish soap. The big bottles of dish soap, the big bottle of spray, the bleach, the greaser cleaner, all the bars of soap, the shower goods, all that type of stuff was all bought by me. And it's always bought by me. It gets used up, I buy more, I used up. The toilet cleaner, used up. And he'll literally open up a bottle of toilet cleaner and pour the whole bottle. I'll be like, I just bought this yesterday. Why is it empty? Well, this that goes in the toilet, right? I said, yeah, not the whole bottle. And why is the toilet still dirty then? Oh, well, I poured it in and flushed. Oh, well, no, you pour it in and you scrub. You take the brush and you scrub around. You don't flush. Oh, I thought you said flush, not brush. No, I said brush it. See, I showed you too. You've seen me with gloves on do it for 10 years straight or 9 years straight ever since Lowell. You must understand that. But no, he wants to make up excuses, or he wants to get violent, or he wants to get hurtful. Like he likes to use my father and mother. He says, oh, your mother hates you and your father hates you, and he says you're a liar, and your aunt says shut up all the time. And it's a way to hurt me because he knows I'm trying to wake them up to my abuse. and he overheard her say that shut up when I was explaining some really stressful PTSD stuff. And he just tries to be hurtful a lot of times when he gets into trouble, like when he just doesn't want to hear something. He doesn't want to hear he has to clean up his own messes and he has to pay for his own stuff. And he got caught. The inspector saw it like that when I was hurt. He's been getting caught for it. He got caught for being a pedophile and liking children. He got caught for being selfish. His wife left him, his kids left him. They don't want nothing to do with his attitude and the way his selfish behaviors. He got caught. He's getting caught being lazy, spending 20 hours in bed and just watching my TV all the time, making messes. He's getting caught for not cleaning up himself. He's getting caught for not going to the doctor at all and having a lot of health issues. And he doesn't want them to know because he's afraid he's going to have to spend some time in the hospital. I said, that's not the worst thing. I'm going in the hospital too. But he says he's going in the hospital, but he's not. He'll spend a couple days or he's told me this about 8 times. I'm going in the hospital, bye. And he really hangs out at a friend's house and then comes back that night. He's doing this as a deflection. He'll say, oh, well, I'm moving out at the end of the week. And then 2 years later, he hasn't moved out. Or he'll say, well, I'll do this. And then he doesn't do it. And it's really just a way to try to hurt me because I'm asking him to clean up after himself and do stuff he doesn't want to do. I said, you have to pay back your credit cards and stop using them. You don't have any more money to be doing that. He doesn't like that. He's not going to do it. He's going to continue using his credit cards if I like it, if anybody likes it, even though Department of Health and Human Services have told him to stop, and because he's literally putting too much financial pressure on me to pay for his needs. And it's not going to work. He's going to end up in a shelter with only $450, $500 out of his $1,400 check. It's really $1,360. But he only gets to keep $600 because of all his credit cards. And he spends so much on cigarettes that it's just not enough. He barely can cover half of the rent for this place. And remember, I didn't get this place. He was supposed to be his place. He just couldn't make it up, and nobody wanted to stay with him. Nobody is going to stay with him but me. That's why I made out a plan for him. I said, if you pay back your credit cards and cut them up, I will stay for 2 to 3 years, just like I said. It'll be like 2 to 5 at max. And while I'm doing that, you'll see your check get bigger and bigger. He didn't like that. He got all mad. And he just wants to keep on using my resources because then he gets everything. Then he gets to use his credit cards. Then he doesn't have to clean. Then he can stay in a bed because he's using my bed. He's using my TV. He's using my microwave. He's using my appliances. He's using my pan. He's using my vacuum. He's using just my everything. I even catch him using my clothing. He wears my hat. I had a gift given to me on Christmas from the Chevrolet dealership. They give me a lot of gifts at my businesses on Christmas time, and he started just wearing it. He took my Christmas gift and just started wearing it. So he just takes control of whatever. He needed a new hat. His hat was no good, so he said, I'll take Zach's. And then it was his. He did the same thing with my pillows. He did the same thing with my mattress. He tried to push me off my mattress so I would be on the floor after I just spent $700 on a mattress set for myself. He wants to push it off and take it from me. This is not right. An 83-year-old sex offender should not be trying to go into somebody else's bed and push him off of the bed and acting in a gross sexual manner. Get your own mattress. I literally bought him his own secondary mattress just to keep him away from me because I couldn't sleep at night. I would try to sleep at night and all of a sudden he'd get in my bed. I'm like, no, get off my bed. Well, where am I going to sleep? In your bed. I don't have a bed. Then get a bed. You have Social Security, you have $1,300, and your rent's only $450 at that time. There's no reason why you shouldn't have a bed. But he wanted to keep on going on shopping sprees, keep on using his credit cards, keep on smoking, keep on hanging out with meth heads and addicts and homeless people and give away his money. And then he wants to get mad when I say, hey, you can't have all my stuff. This is my money, my food, my bed. And you got to clean up your floor. You got to clean up your poop. You got to clean up your clothing. You got to clean up your sheets. You got to clean up your table. He doesn't like that, and then he gets violently mad. I'm moving out next week. Your father hates you, and he calls you a liar, and your aunt says that you need to shut the fuck up. And that's basically his answer, and that's very hurtful behavior. And my aunt and father don't make this any easier either. They just give people more ammo. They make up more stories about me. They're no better. I mean, they have their own selfish behaviors to deal with. but I'm giving back to the fullest extent that anybody could give back in society. I've given my health to an adopted mother. I've given my body to an adopted mother. I've given my time to the homeless, the addicts, the disabled children, the elderly, all of them. I've given my money to the elderly. I've given my money to the disabled. I've given my money to addicts. I've given my time and money to just disabled people in general. I've spent a lot of time learning these skills too from classes and different agencies. I've taken the Narcan class like 3 times. I've taken first aid class 2 times. I've taken a bunch of addiction classes more times than I can count. I've been in more types of hospitals where they teach you coping skills and all these different. So I'm very good with people, as well as I was trained to be a teacher's aide for special needs kids. So I'm familiar with different behavior sets, as well as I spent a lot of time learning with doctors about things like bipolar, depression, schizophrenia, manic behaviors, ADHD, how medications affect the body, senileness, dementia, Alzheimer's, diabetes, people missing legs and have problems with alcoholism, addicts in general, trauma patients, people who have traumatic past who have been hurt in horrible ways. I have lots of experience helping these people. I was helped a pregnant 16, well, she was 18 when she was finally giving birth. So I helped an 18-year-old pregnant girl reconnect with the baby daddy's family and get to keep her child, get a home, get a job, and everything she needed when she was living on the street. She was homeless, pregnant. By the time she left, she was like 7 months pregnant. And it had nothing to do with me. I didn't make her pregnant. I had nothing to do with this. I was the kind guy who gives advice and money and his time to help situations. So she was following me around, and I contacted her original family, her father, and she didn't have a mother, but she had a father. But he didn't want anything to do with her, and he lived in the trailer park, and all the people that knew that family said it was because this father used to have sex with her. Apparently this was an incest family. I don't know if it was true or not, but that's why there was a big problem. The daughter was talking about the incest, and the father wanted nothing to do with it. So he threw her out as soon as she got pregnant and was talking about this incest stuff. So he wasn't having it. And no matter how much things went wrong for this girl or how much supplements she needed, he would say abortion. Just get an abortion. Until you get an abortion, don't come. It was awful. This father was awful. So then I switched over to the baby daddy side of the family. The sister didn't know. The mother didn't know. So after they found out, they wanted the girl to move in, but she wasn't sure. So I had to spend months convincing her, go, go. A family wants you. They have a home, a family. They're going to help you keep your child. Go, go, go. And eventually I got her to get a ride with the sister from the bus station up to Pennsylvania and get this baby. I also helped addicts get sober. I got hugs from addicts. That was the only guy that ever cared enough to get them sober. I've also saved a life. I got a whole family with the same last name as me, no relation though, that literally hugged me and said they owed me a favor. I said, don't worry about it. Don't sweat it. I was just doing the right thing by God. I've done so much other stuff that I couldn't mention. This is how I am. I give my soul and my time and my money to help others. But if you take my kindness for weakness, you're in for a rough ride. Because I will be kind to you, but don't try to use me. I've been used up enough times. I've had my name used. I've had my credit used by other people. I've never had a credit card in my life. But yet other people have made that different. Somebody used my credit on a house I never heard of. This phone scammer used my credit for some type of phone scam I still don't quite understand. And, well, this is kind of my fault, but a cable company ended up offering me a service. They said they were going to hook up my cable and give me cable, and all I had to do was send back the old box and pay them $180, what I did. But then after a whole month, the installer never came, I never had cable, and then they wanted a whole nother $180, even though they never rendered services. So I told them, as soon as my cable is hooked up, as soon as the installer comes, I will give you money. But I've already given you the money for 30 days of cable, yet I have not had it. You have not given me the service that you said you were going to provide. I looked through the contract and everything, and I was assured that for my $180 that I already paid, I would get installation, what I never received. Cable, like, I don't know, 280 channels, I never received. As well as a cable box, which I had to spend a week finding an old one, and to get an old lease I'm in the new lease saying I'm a new tenant before they would send me the new one, which I did. And I gave them the money and everything, but they told me that the installer couldn't find the place. And that's why I had to pay again. No, no, no. I paid you for installation and I haven't received it. Now you want me to pay for installation again? And you want me to pay for cable again? No, I'm not paying you for 2 months of cable and only receiving 1 month. Plus, they could have done it to me again. They could have said that the installer couldn't find the place again and then made me pay for a third month. So I just said, I'm not paying. I don't want your service. And I canceled with them right away, but they're on my credit score as well. These are not things that are really that bad that for me to do. I never walked in and got a credit card and wasted it. I'm very responsible with money. I know how to make out a budget, and my needs always come first. But if you're in my household, then your needs are just as important as my needs. If you spill feces all over the place, I have to clean it up or I'll get sick because I need to be not sick. If I need to be not sober, then I can't have you bringing drug addicts in the house. So I need you to not bring in drug addicts. My need is no drug addicts in the house, and my roommate needs to not bring drug addicts in the house. These are very simple rules, but he breaks them. I had to install a $100 camera in the front just so he wouldn't bring drugs into my house. I did not like that, as well as my 83-year-old roommate took a urine test and failed for cocaine, and then he took another urine test like 5 years later and failed for amphetamines. He doesn't do drugs at all. That's not good. That means the people he's hanging out with are exposing him to bad stuff. And luckily, I've been sober for years, but I can't have these people coming in my house when I'm at work or when I'm at home. And these are the type of conversations I have. And then he gets violent, mad, starts talking shit about how he's leaving. He starts wagging his finger. He's even hit me before. He's tried to do all different types of things. He destroys my property, and it's not okay. It's not okay. And this is why I'm installing more cameras. I'm going to the state for help, as well as I will be moving out. But now he's trying to wipe my money out and hold me hostage here. Really. He thinks he can hold me hostage here. So when you're listening to this video and you see him on camera, and I have permission. By the way, in a past video, I do have his permission to record him and post it. Even if he wants to lie later, I have a recording proving that he gave me permission to record what's going on so people get the truth, but now he's regretting it. Because now that he sees himself in the camera, he's like, that's what I look like? That's what you look like. Well, that's not what I said. Listen to the recording. That's exactly what you said. And there's other people, too. There's lots of other people he tries to twist. Like, he has this job that he went to and he got thrown out. And they told me that he's a liar and don't listen to him and things like that. And they told me a bunch of bad stuff about him. And I should have listened, but I'm trying to improve. I already know what he's like. I don't need other people telling me what he's like. I'm very familiar with what they call idiofrequencies. He has a lot of idiofrequencies. I read people very well. That's why I can work with them. Now, he was improving. The only problem is, as he was improving, he figured out that he can just be in bed for 20 hours and everything would just get done. And then when I got hurt, nothing gets done. And that's the problem. That's going to cause a lot of problems, as well as I am not somebody's maid. I am not here to do everything for another person. I'm here to help and caregive, but you need to be doing your own work. That doesn't mean do less. That means I'll show you how to do more. I'll give you coping skills. I'll give you tools. I'll go buy things like Swiffer mops so you don't have to use a regular mop. I can show you how to make your job easier. I'll do half, or the rule I have. Now it should be half and half. But the rule I have is I do 90% of the work, you do 10% of the work. But that's not working out. He can't even do any of the work. He has an excuse and he gets angry when I want him to do any of the work, and that's a problem.